Dears, welcome everybody to the online classes organized by Motkola ML High School. This is Abdul Rahim, I'm an assistant teacher of English of Motkola High School. And I am going to take your classes on English subjects, first paper and second paper. And today's class is on tag question. And this class is supposed to be for the students of class 9 and 10. Okay, let's start the class. First of all, we should define what is a tag question. Tag question is basically a question that is attached after a statement. Suppose I can say, I know you, don't I? First of all, I expressed a statement. I gave a statement that is I know you. And after the statement, I said, don't I? Let's see. He is a teacher. It is a statement. It is a statement. I am describing about him. His profession is teaching. He is a teacher. But if I want to ask about this statement, if I want to know your opinion, the opinion of the viewers, of the listeners, then I should ask about this statement. Isn't he? So the question attached after a statement, after an assertive sentence or an imperative sentence or any optative sentence, this is a tag question. Let's see another example. You are a student. It is an assertive sentence and it is a statement. If I want to ask about this statement, if it is true or false, I can ask, aren't you? Aren't you? Here, aren't you is a tag question. So we can see that if we attach or fix any interrogative sentence, a short interrogative sentence after a statement or after an assertive sentence, it is called a tag question. Tag means to attach, to fix with something. Okay. We should know the structures. There are, we know, according to the meaning, there are the sentences are of 5 kinds: assertive, interrogative, optative, exclamatory, and interrogative, right? Assertive, imperative, interrogative, optative, and exclamatory. There are 5 kinds of sentences. Only 3 kinds of sentences, there may be tag question for 3 kinds of sentences, that is assertive, imperative, and optative. Not optative, exclamatory. Only 3 kinds of sentences, assertive, imperative, and exclamatory sentences have tag questions. Interrogative, there is no tag question for interrogative sentence, there is no tag question for optative sentence. So how can we make or how can we construct a tag for a statement? First of all, we will discuss about assertive sentence. In today's class, we will discuss how we can make a tag for an assertive sentence. Rule 1. If the assertive sentence is affirmative, the tag will be negative, or the vice versa. The first rule of tag question. You have to always remember this rule, because this rule is applicable everywhere, in every sentence. It may be assertive sentence, it may be imperative sentence, it may be exclamatory sentence. The first rule is applicable for all the three sentences. If the assertive sentence or if the main sentence in the question is assertive, the tag will be negative, and the vice versa. Vice versa means the opposite. If the main sentence is negative, then the tag question will be affirmative. Okay, if it is clear, let's see an example. I have two sisters. We have to make a tag for this sentence. It is a affirmative sentence, right? It is an affirmative sentence. The tag will be in the negative form. How can we make it? This rule will be discussed in the second rule. I have two sisters, so we have to make the tag negative. Haven't I? Very simple rule. If the assertive sentence have an auxiliary verb, then we have to put the negative of that auxiliary verb, and we have to put the subject. If the subject is a noun, we have to put the pronoun of that subject. Let's see another example. The man is honest. It is an affirmative sentence. The tag will be negative, and there is an auxiliary verb here in this sentence, and the tag will be negative form. The negative form of is isn't. And you have to remember another thing, that is, you must use the negative contracted forms of an auxiliary verb in the tag question. Negative contracted forms of auxiliary verbs are used in the tag. We cannot use is not, the largest form, the larger form we cannot use in the tag question. We cannot say is not. We cannot say this. We must contract it. We must shorten it. We must use the short form. Here is the verb, and we put the negative form. And what is the subject? The subject of this sentence is the man. And we cannot put the subject, the noun here. We must put the pronoun of the subject. If the subject is a noun, then we have to put the pronoun. So what is the pronoun of the man? He. He is the pronoun of man, and isn't is the negative form of is. Let's see the opposite thing. I don't have any brother. We have to make tag for this sentence. I don't have any brother. It is a negative sentence. Then what will be the tag? The tag will be in affirmative form. The tag will be opposite of the main sentence. As it is negative, we have to put the affirmative. What is the affirmative form of don't? Do. Do is the affirmative form of don't. And the subject is a pronoun. There is no problem. I can put it here. If the subject is a pronoun, we can put the pronoun here, no problem. But if the subject is a noun, we must use the pronoun of the subject. Is it clear to you? Okay, let's see the opposite of this sentence. The man isn't dishonest or honest. Okay, no problem. The man is not honest. What can be the tag for this sentence? Here is an auxiliary verb, isn't, and we have to use the opposite form, the affirmative form. What is the affirmative form of isn't? It is. And what should we put here? We should put the pronoun of the subject because the man is subject. What is the pronoun of the subject, man? He. Is it clear? I think you all understood this thing very clearly. If you understood, then I'm giving you an example. And you have to answer, you have to give your reply. You have to give your answer in the comment section. We should not waste our time. This is your task. You have to make the tag for this sentence, and you should write your answer in the comment section of this page, and I will come back and check the answer. Okay, you should write it down here and now, and you can pause the video and write the answer, see the question and write the answer. Okay, let's turn to rule 2. And there may arise a question in your mind that if there is an auxiliary verb in the sentence, then we can use the opposite form of that auxiliary verb in the tag question. If that auxiliary verb is affirmative, then we can use the negative form in the tag. And if the auxiliary verb is negative, we can use the affirmative form in the tag. But if a sentence does not have any auxiliary verb, then what should we do? If a sentence does not have any auxiliary verb, what should we do? Let's see. Rule 2. In order to make tag for the sentence, without any auxiliary verb, without any auxiliary verb, we must use do, does, did, don't, doesn't, and didn't in the tag before the subject. We already discussed the sentences having auxiliary verbs. If there is an auxiliary verb in the sentence, it is very easy to make tag for that sentence. We have to use the opposite form. If the auxiliary verb is affirmative, then the auxiliary verb will be negative in the tag, and the vice versa. But if we don't have any auxiliary verb in the sentence, we have to use these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 auxiliary verbs: do, does, did, don't, doesn't, and didn't. If the sentence is in present tense, we have to use do or does. And if the sentence is if the sentence is in the past form, we have to use did. And if the sentence is in present tense and if it is negative, then we have to use if the main sentence is affirmative, we can use the negative form. The first rule will be applicable also here. Let's see the example. He gets up early in the morning. We have to make tag for this sentence. Is there any auxiliary verb in this sentence? No. There is no auxiliary verb. If there were any auxiliary verb, we could make the tag very easily. But there is no auxiliary verb here. So what should we do? We should use these 6 auxiliary verbs because there is no auxiliary verb here. Okay, and to make this, we have to remember, we have to keep in mind some things, that what tense is the sentence. If it is in present tense, then we have to use do, does, don't, doesn't. If the sentence is in past tense, we have to use did or didn't. What tense is this? It's a present tense. So we should use do, does, or don't, doesn't. Now we have to look if it is affirmative or negative. If the sentence is affirmative, we have to use don't or doesn't. If the sentence is negative, we have to use do, does. Present tense, affirmative. So we have to use don't or doesn't because the main sentence is affirmative. Then what should we use? Don't or doesn't? There are 2 options, don't and doesn't. What should we do? What is the subject? The subject is he. And what should we put before he? Don't or doesn't? Of course doesn't. Because he, the subject, is third person singular number, and we know it is a universal rule that if the subject is in the third person singular number, then we have to use the S added form, doesn't. Okay, let's see another example. We play every afternoon. We play every afternoon. What can be the tag for this sentence? There is no auxiliary verb here. So we have to bring these auxiliary verbs here. It is in present tense, present form, and it is in affirmative form. So we should use don't or doesn't. In the previous sentence, we used doesn't because of the subject he. But in this sentence, we should use don't because don't we. Because we is a first person. We use doesn't only with the subject of third person singular number. Only if the subject is third person singular number, we can use doesn't with that. But if the subject is not third person singular number, we must use don't because this is a present tense and this is in the affirmative form. Okay, let's see some other examples. I know nobody here. There is no auxiliary verb in this sentence. It is a present tense. So what should we do? We have to put, as there is no auxiliary verb, we have to bring those auxiliary verbs. And it is, as it is present tense, we have to use do or don't before the subject. The subject is I. Now what should I use here? Do or don't? What should I use? Should I use do I or don't I? To use this one correctly, we have to know if this main sentence is affirmative or negative. This is an affirmative sentence. Is it an affirmative sentence? No, it is not an affirmative sentence. It is a negative sentence because nobody is a negative word. If nobody, none, nothing, these kinds of words are in a sentence, the sentence is negative. So we have to use the positive or affirmative form here. So do is the right form, not don't. I know nobody here, do I? This is the sentence. Okay, let's see some example of from past tense. He came here yesterday. Very simple sentence. Came. It is a sentence of past simple tense, right? And what should we do? And there is no auxiliary verb, and it is an affirmative sentence because there is no negative words here. The tag will be negative because the main sentence is affirmative. But what should we do? What should I bring? Do, don't, did, didn't, he. What should I use here? Do he, don't he, did he, or didn't he? What should I use? Do and don't cannot be used here because this is a past tense. Do and don't are used only for present tense. So we can cross them, not this. Okay, we can use did or didn't here because this is a past form. This is a past tense. Did is used for past tense, didn't is also used for past tense. But what should we use here? We cannot use both of them. We have to use only one of them. Then we have to look if it is affirmative or negative. The sentence is affirmative, so we cannot use did. Because the main sentence is affirmative, the tag must be negative. So we have to use didn't. I think it's clear to you. There are some other rules I will discuss one by one. Let's see the time. Okay, let's finish here today. Then it's the class. I don't want to lengthen the class anymore because you may be feeling bored, or you may lose your interest here if the class is too long. So I would like to finish my class here. Before finishing my class, I would like to give you a task, and you have to reply the answer in the comment section. We never went there. You have to make the tag for this sentence. It is a very simple sentence, and this is your task. I have given you two tasks. Earlier in rule 1, I gave you one exercise, and in the second rule, I gave another exercise. You have to give your reply or your answer in the comment section. Okay. Thank you everybody for watching my video. Thank you everybody. Take care. See you in the next class.